Well, it is July 23rd, 2021. We're recording this on a Friday night, but you are watching this on a Monday night right after a brand new episode of Flight Check. And I would like to welcome all of you to the first official episode of Cabin Convos. I'm your host, SandyToez, and I'm very excited to get this show rolling. Technically, we have had another FlyQuest staff member on the show before. We had Tricky several episodes back, but this is its own show. And who better to have on the show for the premiere episode than the dragon himself, Loyota? Man, how are you doing tonight?
Well, probably be doing better if we won.
Yeah,
But,
this is fair. I
it's
think
not too bad.
we were. This is for context. Only an hour or so after losing to Team Liquid. Hate to see it. Hate to see the Camille get so far ahead so fast, and kind of shut Kumo out of the game. Oh well. Was that all to the game? Did you think, or was there were there other aspects that you saw that kind of took us out?
Like, the thing is, like, once you get behind against that comp, like, we really can't do anything because all we could mostly do is group,
Yeah.
and they could just kind of stretch us out on the map due to being Camille and Irelia. And Irelia's, on this patch at least, is very, very good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if things don't go well, it's just not going to go well for the rest of the game.
That
And
makes sense.
we kind of just stopped playing in the side lane and trying to group a little bit too early, and yeah, it didn't turn out well.
Yeah, it was good because I did see us try to make some plays, but not all of them worked out. A couple times where I think a lot of ultis were burned and no follow up, and Jensen was just so tanky on the Aurelia. It was almost impossible to kill him by the end of the game. But oh well, we've got 2 more games this weekend, so the playoff hunt is still on. Moving on, so the first question I actually have for you is the whole dragon nickname. How did that come about? Because I see this in Twitch chat. I see people spamming it on Twitter from time to time. So how did this nickname come around?
Well, okay, so if I were to start from the beginning, when I first created my Twitter for like esports at least, I went by Loyota the Dragon.
Okay.
Like, that was like the full like @
Yeah.
And I did that because it was based off my favorite UFC fighter, Lyoto Machida.
Okay.
And his nickname was Lyoto the Dragon Machida. So I
Okay.
took that part and I kind of like twisted his name a little bit and used it for myself. And eventually, people kind of like took notice.
Right.
But I got rid of the dragon part because I was in like there was like what was it called, like Narrative Wake or whatever, like Thorne's like podcast or whatever that he ran with like
yeah,
Kelsey.
Sure. Right.
And I maybe it was that, it was something else, I don't know, but I did it for Worlds.
Okay.
And the second I said what my full name was for like that like modifier, they kind of made fun of it.
Oh,
and after that I was like, I have
that's
to
rough.
get rid of it.
That's rough. Oh man.
But later on, somehow the players found out that like I used to go by the Dragon.
Yeah.
And so they started saying like Dragon Arise, like in my like diss chat and stuff. And it just like caught on, and it was just like, all right, whatever. We'll just go back to
Yeah,
it.
I mean, you just got to embrace the meme at some point, right?
Yeah.
You just got to take it on. That's great. Well, now we know, and now someone can go create like a Lolpedia entry about that, and it's a little bit of a trivia note. All right, great. Well, we're going to start off with a segment that I'm calling just Quick Hits. Very basic name for a segment, right? But this is just a chance for us to get to know Loyota a little bit with some very basic icebreaker questions. So we're going to start off with this one. You get hired onto the Riot Balance team, and they tell you that you get to buff a single champion. Which champ do you pick, and why?
I would buff Rek'Sai.
Oh, okay.
I would buff Rek'Sai because 1, she's like my favorite champion.
Okay, very cool.
2, she really needs help. She can't do what all the other champions can do. She can do only one thing, and if it doesn't work, she's useless for the rest of the game. I'd like her to be a little bit more than that.
I remember playing her in solo queue earlier in the spring. I forget what patch it was. It might have been like 11.4 or 5. And I was like, oh, Prowler's Claw is actually pretty decent. I think that was the item I was going on Rek'Sai, and I was like, Okay. This either works really well or this champ just is absolutely useless for most of the game. So, all right. Now the converse. Now you've buffed Rek'Sai, but now they tell you that you get to delete a champion from the game. Who are you deleting?
Oh, who am I deleting? Um, Honestly, part of me just wants to say Akali.
Yeah.
Only I only say this just because I really hate the Shroud.
Fair.
And
Yeah.
it's just I, I just don't like invisibility like that in the
Yeah.
game. I don't know. As myself playing the game, I don't really like it. People would probably say, "Well, the champion's really fun. You really should not delete that one." But
Right.
I feel like I want to say it that one.
I feel like it would also be a good meta shakeup for pro. I mean, it's such a high tier champion right now that mids and top laners would have to go with something else. You know, we maybe get to see some other fun things in the game.
Yeah.
All right, some faster ones now. Favorite pizza topping?
I like having pepperoni, bacon, and roasted red peppers
Nice.
on mine.
That's a great combo. All right, nights out or nights in?
Usually nights in,
Yeah.
but at least during the regular season, because I'm just doing work or whatever, right? But
Right.
if I can help it, like I will like go out and like try to do something
For sure.
just to get away from this.
Yeah. Get away from the computer and all that.
Yeah.
Fruits or vegetables?
Vegetables.
Okay. Oh, why vegetables? You said that with such confidence.
Because well, like when I was like trying to do my cut,
Yeah.
vegetables are just better in general just because there's less sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So even though like I don't think there's anything bad with fruit, I definitely have fruit, but
Yeah.
if I had to choose between the two, it's like I would have to do veggies.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's definitely going to be some fitness-related questions later in. So,
Oh, God.
because we know you're the expert.
Thanks.
Okay, couple more. First job.
My first job was working as a lifeguard.
Oh, very cool. Very nice. And then, all right, final one. Actually, hang on. We've got two more. When you were 6 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Honestly, I'm pretty sure what I wrote down was I wanted to be a professional football player.
Nice. And hey, look where you are. Now you're an analyst for a professional sports team. So, fairly close, right? And then, final question. Dream vacation spot.
I would want to go to. I also wanted to go to Korea, South
Okay,
Korea,
yeah, awesome.
just because everyone just says like it's the mecca of esports and everything.
Yeah.
So like, I just want to see it.
100%. Yeah, that's going to Lal Park is definitely on my list of things to do once international travel is a little bit more feasible. So,
Yeah.
all right. Now to the more long form questions. So, let's start with like the most obvious thing. What got you into the game we all know and love, League of Legends? And then kind of what got you into the analysis side of everything, like the professional side. So kind of like your career trajectory from there.
Well, so
Big question, I know, but yeah.
I'll admit that. Like, okay, so I used to be like pretty addicted to playing WoW.
Yeah.
And in order to curb that, I got addicted to playing Dota. To curb that, I got addicted to League. So League is where that was the end. But I enjoyed the game enough, and like I got to, I don't know, I was like a top 1,000 player at one point.
Oh, nice.
Like it was the point where you could say, like I'm good, but I know I'm never gonna go pro.
Yeah. Okay,
like you just know like yeah, you just know way you're gonna be able to do it. And I didn't like, so I got a teaching degree in math, high school teaching. And at the end of like my students teaching experience, I was like, this is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I got my degree, that's cool. And I was like, I'm pretty good at League. Maybe there's something here. So I basically did like 6 months of volunteer like work, essentially just like writing like pieces, posting them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was just like trying to evaluate like how effective is like this actual TP, like just doing like categorizing it, right? Like on success and everything.
Cool.
And not a lot of people really doing that or whatever. So it got some attention. Like Kelsey like started paying attention to some of it, and that was super nice. And then that led to me working for I don't know, they called it like the hive mind or something like that. It was basically like working for Hermit when he was on Origin for Worlds Season 5. And that in itself helped get like my name out at least. So I got a tryout with Immortals, and I did a this is actually like my favorite thing. The tryout that we had, it was like a video form for like lane swaps.
Okay.
I asked for a day more because like I was like, I'm pretty like meticulous on how I do some things.
Sure. Yeah.
Everyone submitted like 5 to 15-minute videos, and I sent a 45-minute video.
So just a straight up video essay.
Yes. On lane swaps, and
that's amazing.
It worked. It worked. I got my first full-time position, and I mean that's how it happened. You know.
That's fantastic. Awesome. So you were on Immortals for how long?
The 2 years, and then they didn't make franchise.
And then where did you move on to from there?
So after that, I moved on to Team Liquid.
Yeah.
That was the first time they like made like a super roster, right? And which so happened to have a bunch of Immortals people.
Yeah.
So I kind of like
Xsmithy and Pobelter, right? And
yeah.
Now I'm blanking on the rest of them. Double Lift.
Mm-hmm. Ole,
yeah, because Core was the next year, and then Impact, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that roster was just something else. I mean, I remember everyone just expected them to win, and then they won. I mean, like what possibly? And this is not like to throw shade, but it's like, man, like what were you doing like in that role? Like, what kind of help did those players need? Because you would look at that roster and expect like, wow, these guys are just all veterans. They know everything about the game. Like, what were you doing as part of that team?
Well, the first split, I was working as like a position coach for Pobelter.
Okay, cool.
So like do like goals, feedback, whatever during scrims.
Sweet.
And then any like at the time like the analyst was Charge.
Mm-hmm.
And if he signed any work, if he wanted anything like specifically scouted like for the position, like that's what I would handle.
Okay.
And then after we won the first split, Charge left, and then suddenly it was like, okay, now I'm the LCS analyst. And so then, like I just took the role of like, again, doing scouting work, like giving whatever info I have, whatever, to them. And we won again, like, cause we 3 out 100 both times. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. And 100 was like it was like not a bad team, but no one really came close to us. Right. And you are right. Like, I do believe that they probably could have gone by without as much staff, to be honest, because the team was just that much better for NA standards.
Right. Well, I don't think anyone had ever seen a team that stacked before in NA.
Yeah. It might. Well,
or maybe
the previous year.
Yeah.
If you remember the TSM roster, it was like
that was a pretty good roster. Yes.
It was Hanser, Sven, Bjerg, Double Lift, Bio.
Yeah.
And that was actually, I can't remember if it was the last year or the year before that, but like that roster was supposed to be good.
Right.
But yeah, like that's like mostly what I did on TL. And then afterwards, like I had like a lapse year, which I wasn't really like sure. Like, I wasn't like too sure of myself. Like I had like some mental health issues like that just kind of like built up over the time. So like I felt like I should take a year off.
Okay.
And then after feeling like better and like starting to post more about like League and whatever again, that I got into Fly for Fly Academy.
Yeah.
And I think I also kind of realized that I liked working on the developing side more so than just like the LCS side. And I'd still do like a little bit for LCS, but it's like that's not my focus. Like that's Joseph's focus, right?
Yeah.
And I really like it. That's why I always tweet about like the Academy guys played at LCS.
Right. And that actually brings up a side question. So you mentioned that you had gotten your teaching degree. Do you feel like that degree and kind of that background led you towards that more development coaching path?
I think so. Like I said, my experience with student teaching wasn't good, but I did like helping students. Like that was always like very enjoyable. So being able to help players in this sense, like trying to learn the game, like grow, and like I do the same with like helping like amateur players, like AM players.
Yeah.
Just like on my own time.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And it's, I don't know, like I find it more rewarding in a sense than chasing the rabbit for like a world championship, I guess you could say.
Right. Yeah, because there's only one world championship, but there are tons of academy and amateur players who need your help. So
yeah,
that's fantastic. So joining FlyQuest, so you joined 2020, right? Spring 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And this was right around the time of kind of the start of the rebrand, as we usually say. Like, so that's when we kind of dropped the whole Team Snickers joke, and you know, Trisha brought in, you know, hashtag Showcase Greatness. We started doing all the environmental things. Were those things that they talked to you about before joining, or were there other, like, what kind of attracted you towards joining FlyQuest?
Well, for one, honestly, I didn't have too many offers after being gone for a year,
No,
so it's not like I was
that
gonna be
makes sense.
picky or anything.
Yeah, fair.
Two, like, I knew Nick,
Yeah.
because I worked with Nick on Immortals. So like I already like knew like Nick was like a great guy. Like I knew I probably could easily work with him and everything. And I was just, you know, I was just curious on like what it'd be like to work on the development side, on the academy side.
Sweet.
And so like when they actually like pushed like the branding into, you know, like helping the environment, everything.
Yeah.
Like that was very much, I really like that.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot better to me than some like the generic brands that like teams do and whatever. Like that's not really my interest. Yeah, to be honest.
No,
but this one, like I like this one a lot.
We I won't name names on this show, but usually on the podcast we often talk about some of the other teams having absolutely no branding. So that is something we really appreciate as fans, is being behind an org that actually stands up for something. It's super cool to see. Okay, so your day-to-day as an analyst for the academy team and also helping out with the LCS team here and there, helping amateur players, what does like a typical day look like for you, work-wise?
Well, I guess usually in the beginning, especially if it's like let's just take today, like, so today's my off day, right?
Sure.
Except if it's like my off day and there's like a new patch, which there is, it was 11.15. That's what we're gonna play on next. Like I usually take care of like looking over all the patch notes, like doing any math that I need to on changes, looking up how like champions like changed, like right, like their win rates for like between the two patches, whatever. Just like the players have that information and they can actually try to make some hopefully good judgments off them. I won't say they always do, but I would like that to push that, you know, forward.
Do you ever spot any champions' win rates just skyrocketing, and you're trying to push them on the guys, and they're just like, no, this is there. Can you leak any champ that you're seeing right now that you'd love to see them play?
Well, I don't know about right now, just because like the new patch dropped, right?
Sure.
So
something recent.
I still have to like figure out like what exactly they would be interested in per se. But I know before I was like trying to get Kumo to play Cho'Gath over and over again. Like I think it was the last split, and Excel played it eventually, and they won. And then Licorice started playing it, and he won. And I was just like, hey, would have played Cho'Gath.
I know the community gets very excited whenever a Cho'Gath gets pulled out. There's something about that champ that people love. Anyway, so your day to day.
Yeah. So like if that's the case with the patch, I'll deal with that. But you know, I have my select scouting that I have to do. Like I have to like get all like the draft information prepared for them. I have to make sure like I have like all their solo queue accounts or whatever, right? Just like we have like the general like sense of like what do they play, right? And then of course I need to actually watch the games, take my own notes, create my like prep my presentation on the team for like their level ones, like early game, mid late, player specific stuff, whatever you want to call it. That I don't always get done on my off day, and like sometimes I do just make my off day, right? So that's like sprinkled across like the week. Like the scouting in the morning.
Sure.
Like I'll check out, you know, like whatever games might have been played internationally.
Yep.
Just to get an idea. I might watch, because like my role is not just being like an academy analyst. It's supposed to also be like trying to scout out players, right? So like I do watch the AM scene, the amateur scene,
right?
And they have like their own tournaments that go on. They have a lot of games.
They have so many games. Yeah, I keep a side eye on what's going on there too. It's just like
so there's a lot of games there.
Oh my gosh.
So I try to watch some of those as well. Maybe I'm just like messaging some players on what they should focus on. Like I'd message Philip, like our new top laner, because he's 18 years old. He's new to pro.
Yeah.
he needs help.
Right. I wouldn't say he doesn't know anything, but like he definitely there's a lot for him to learn. So
yes, there is.
Cool.
So like I would say for now, like it's like mostly for like scouting my opponents and just like general scouting for amateur players, and then kind of focused on Philip, because like Philip is pretty much like my main like goal at this point, because we have Sharks helping like the LCS guys that are like playing with like in the academy side.
Sure.
But for someone like Philip, like it's just he could use it for sure.
yeah that actually helps me segue. Perfect, thank you. So when the big roster change happened and the LCS guys started playing in academy moved to LCS, how did that change things for you? Because previously you had been working with the academy guys, and now they're playing on the main stage. Then you've got Jose, Pala, Johnson, Dreams, they're down in academy. Are you still helping the like quote unquote academy roster that's now up in LCS, or are you now helping the technically academy roster that's formerly LCS, if that makes sense?
So I was like offered the chance to go work with the guys that moved up, right?
Yeah.
Because like I've been working with them for like a split and a half at this point.
Yeah.
So like that was brought up, but I was perfectly content getting to stay down and work with Philip and like be basically like a position coach for Philip, like because I go over like every scrim game, like one-on-one with him. I send him notes, whatever, because like he's really green in a sense, right? And coming into like academy so late, like it's not just like we're coming in late in spring split, like we're coming late into like summer split. So like I want to get at him.
Go ahead. Not only late into summer split, but like I think the team locked Proving Grounds. I think locked like the first seed for like academy playoffs. So like there's gonna be some high profile matches coming up. So yeah.
So to me it was just like I like working with him. Like he is fun. He's like really receptive to like what everything's going on. He's also a very funny kid. That's great. a little too goofy for me at times. Because he reminds me of like Steven and Zin a bit.
Yeah.
It's even worse because those two sound like idiots at times.
Is it some of that like Zoomer humor a little bit?
A little bit.
That's
and they also like repeat the same things at times.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, okay, guys, like
let's move on. In terms of Philip, in terms of scouting him, so if you go on his Lolpedia, there's not a lot of information. Like he didn't play a ton of games in the amateur scene, at least that like were streamed or anything. So what was the process like in finding him and bringing him onto the team?
Well, like, so I had like a list of players, right?
Sure.
Like that. Okay, like these are guys we can look at, because like it wasn't like a ton of time to really like find someone to just like replace Kumo, right?
Yeah.
In the situation.
Sure.
I didn't know of Philip, and I've seen him play a bit, but I wasn't like 100% certain how if he would like instantly slot in, right? Because like it was so late. And it definitely was a little interesting to watch him in this first few games of his script games, because it was like, okay, there's a few good things here. He's gonna need some work here. But Fantix, like, because Fantix like plays like high solo queue and everything, right?
Yeah.
He was like very adamant on picking up Philip.
Okay.
When it came to it, and so I would say it's like Fantix who's like really like the main call on taking him, and like I didn't care, right? In the end, because he's the academy coach, right?
Right.
Like if that's the guy he wants, if that's the guy he wants to work with, like that's the guy we're gonna choose.
Sure.
And so far, like it's been good. Like the first week, a little like well, not a little. It was pretty rough for a little bit, but as you can see, like as the games have gone on, like the weeks have gone on, it's like he's getting more comfortable, and he's definitely improving at a good rate.
That's cool. That's really good to hear. Yeah, I'm really excited to watch his growth and stuff like that. So when you have a new player like him, or if you've just got a team that's like been struggling, right? Like if you've got a full roster that has been struggling, what are things that you look for as an analyst, as a coach, in order to like break down their issues, help them towards improvement? Like what are things like that you try to highlight for them?
Well, like honestly, so when you go with like on a 10-game win streak, it's really easy to just start losing confidence in yourself, right?
Oh.
Your own play, second judgments.
Yeah.
If you keep losing, it's really hard to see like the light in a sense.
Sure.
So like sometimes just making a change like that, and then getting some wins under your belt, and kind of just being able to like feel yourself out and find yourself again is like all you really need.
Mm-hmm.
And like these LCS guys, I mean, if you've been watching Jose, like that guy is popping off every single academy game. Like,
oh my god!
So, like you can tell, like wow, this guy's playing the way that we thought he was going to be playing, right? Like he's like finding his form again. And honestly, it just comes from getting to have a chance to play in academy for a bit and just do that. Like it was the same case for Diamond too. It's kind of like, oh, different environments. Let me kind of like work on myself back up, and now he's doing pretty good.
Yeah. With a player like Philip, are you focusing more on like broader macro ideas, or are you focusing more on like gaining synergy with the team as a whole?
So for Philip, it's really just trying to find it's trying to create a good foundation for him to actually like play the rest of the game off of, and that involves like, okay, let's work on his like ability to like call certain like plays from his lane that he can see, just like getting the attention of people. So like because he knows like he's like a top 10 like ranked player, right? Like he knows how to like in certain ways to like actually get his lead, but he doesn't necessarily know how to communicate it. And of course when you're playing like on a pro team, like a big part is being able to share like the burden of strategy, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, like I'll be a part of the strategy for this game, and then like I can maybe lead the game if I have the lead or whatever. Or if I'm behind, I know what to say so people can come to me and help me and bail me out. But if that's not the case, and you make a mistake in lane or something, and you will just get railed, and it will be very, very bad.
Right.
Which was happening a little bit, and now it's not happening as much because like he's actually improved on it. And of course, like I also do like. I do like work on like the micro stuff, right?
Sure, yeah.
Especially if there's things where it's like, well, you could have done this better, even though you did what was good. Like this would have been just better, or maybe you can kill him here or something. And it's just always just having high expectations on like what he's doing, basically.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I've done a little bit of coaching in my time as well, not in league, in like soccer stuff like that. So yeah, it's always about pushing people to the potential that they have, right? And believing in them, giving them the confidence. So that's really cool. Personal goals like for the team, so we don't know, and obviously I don't expect you to say anything how the rosters will shake out for the rest of the season, right? But we do know the academy team, whatever academy roster, will be playing in Proving Grounds, and hopefully the LCS roster will be in playoffs as well. What are kind of the goals that you guys are setting right now for LCS team, for academy team? I mean, I feel like right now the way the academy team is playing, Proving Grounds aiming for that #1 spot. I mean, come on. Have you seen the way these guys are going?
Yeah. So I would say for like academy playoffs, because like that will happen first.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine with however it turns out, because the end goal is Proving Grounds.
Sure.
And so we are aiming for first for Proving Grounds, of course. Like
yes.
We're definitely not just going into Proving Grounds and be like, yeah, guys, let's beat TL and just get 4-0'd and like no, we're not doing that.
Good. That's what I want to hear.
For LCS, it's like let's make playoffs.
Yeah.
Let's make some really good best of fives and like see how far we can go, right?
Sure.
It's not necessarily just saying, well, we're just gonna win LCS, right? Because that's just, you can't just say that with all things that been.
There are some good teams in the league, yeah.
Yeah, so you take it a little bit more one step at a time. But for us, at least on the academy side, it's like, all right, clearly, like, we're with either roster has gone through, like, we're just winning. So we should have high expectations on us being able to just push up and make PG finals or something like that, right?
Sweet. Well, we'll be rooting for that, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing how far they can go. How about some like real life personal goals? I don't know if you do like any kind of start of the year, like write down any goals list, but do you have anything in mind, like things that you're trying to get better at, work on personally?
Well, so like I do lift, right? Like I do have my own.
We're into this part of the conversation now. Excellent.
So for like bench, like my year goal is supposed to just be like 225.
Yeah.
Like doing like at least like 3 reps in a row or something like that. Like that would be my goal.
Mm-hmm.
My bench is not looking so hot right now. But for squats, like I've always had weak legs, so I just had it down as 200.
Yeah.
And then for deadlifts, it's like 300.
Yeah.
And I did 295 recently, but my form was terrible.
Dude, let's
So
go.
I'm pretty sure I need to correct my form, and I'll go back down on weight. But like I have my own like weight like lifting goals, right?
Nice.
For other things, it's just like well, I mean, this is an odd one maybe, but like I'm just trying to learn Spanish right now.
Oh, very cool.
I mean, I will admit it does help with like how it's like, we have Jose and everything. Like,
Sure.
I think it's nice to just kind of learn in that sense, but also I want to learn it for like other reasons as well.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe just there's certain things I want to learn at least on like the data like analyst side.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a little slow with it just because I have so much to focus on like on game side.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That it's always just kind of like a split on time, right?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, well, I can work on it a little bit here. that works for me.
Maybe on your off days when you do take one of those off days, right?
Yeah.
So I think earlier when we were talking about the fruits and vegetables question, you discussed when you went on your cut. What are like some good like foods or recipes, like things that you found really helped when you were going on your cut?
So well, if I were to say like what my hard cut was, because I did it for 2 months.
Okay.
I ate only chicken breast, brown rice, veggies. This chicken breast was not very well seasoned at all. I'll tell you that right now. Whey protein, and that was mostly it. And I knocked like 20 pounds in 2 months.
Dang, that's great.
It was awful.
Yeah.
If you try eating it, like within a couple of days, I felt like I was always hungry. Obviously, it wasn't the tastiest food, so I would not recommend it.
I've done a few cuts in my time as well, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of chicken and rice. Holy I can't do this again.
So if you want to do a hard cut and you feel like you can make it, like do that. But if you just want like general food, like any lean meat really works, right? Like ground turkey, ground chicken, chicken breast. Brown rice is good. You can get tortillas that are like 50 calories and like have half the daily fiber. That's really good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, like veggies are all good because they're low calories but high fiber and like high volume. I guess the biggest thing for if you were to look at how to like lose weight, it's just what is like your main calories, like how many do you need per day in order to maintain, lose, or like gain weight, right? Based on how much you exercise, and then you pretty much just what kind of food can I eat that's like high volume and low calories? Because like if I eat like I don't know 20 heads of broccoli or something like that, whatever, but I eat like 3 servings of goldfish, it's like, wow, this is like the same thing. Like
yeah.
One's gonna be way more filling, the other is just gonna like barely do anything. So that's kind of like the balance you need.
Makes sense. Are you a big goldfish fan?
I actually love goldfish.
That's great.
Like like you have to choose like what you really like want to like hit on for
Yeah.
like just kind of snacks wise.
Right, of
And
course.
like it's like, oh, I could have 52 little like things of goldfish, and
You're counting them
it's
out
only 100.
individually.
It's 140 calories. It's like
Hey, there you
this
go.
is more filling than tortilla chips and stuff like that. You know, I'm a pretty big goldfish advocate.
That's pretty good. All right, one last question. Bringing it, circling it back to the league side of things. There's always a perpetual discussion in the community about like academy teams versus LCS teams, and when you see a team struggling, say like Counter Logic Gaming, and you see some of the academy teams that are kind of near the top. You always get those like people on Reddit saying like, "Oh, TL Academy could beat CLG in a best of 5 or C9 Academy." And so, in your professional opinion, how big is the gap between like the best academy teams and like the lowest tier of LCS teams?
So it really depends on what the team is.
Sure.
So for us, like our academy team, for one, like the mixture of the players that you have, like you have Triple, he's been to Worlds, you have Diamond, he's been like top of academy for a while, you have Tomo, who's had like good experience. You had Zen was like very fresh.
Yeah.
He's a very fresh player,
But a
but
very
like the big
hyped
thing,
prospect as well.
yeah, because we also picked because he's like the one we picked in like scouting ground, right?
Yeah.
And like he's at least like pretty self-aware and he like to communicate and everything. And then Kumo, like, I mean, Kumo's just been in the scene for actually quite a bit, even though he's like kind of young. Like he's been like around at least. So like the guys themselves have like good collective experience to kind of like take that chance in LCS in the first place. But they really just like grooved well together. Like they just like moved well as a unit, which is like the big thing for LCS because that would be like that's the main divide between LCS and academies. Like if the team can really gel and actually make plays and help each other throughout the entire game, then they can work in LCS. If it's just like, well, we're getting carried by like a couple players, like there's no way.
Yeah.
Because like the collective strength of the LCS rosters will just like overpower like whatever that is. Right. So like in the past, I would say like when C9 Academy and like TSM Academy were like the big teams, when there's like treats, Lost was in like TSM, those teams definitely would beat LCS teams.
Okay, yeah.
Like those are the kind of teams that you're looking at.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, well, do you think 100 Academy could actually beat LCS teams like hands down? It's like I don't really think so.
Yeah, fair enough. So expanding to 12 teams is probably not a good move right now, is what I'm hearing.
If we can get there eventually, probably.
Yeah, no, I think
like
so too.
If amateur players like keep like we keep introducing more of these kinds of players and like improving everyone, like sure we could maybe hit to that point, but right now, I mean, our academy guys in LCS are struggling just a little bit right now. As you can tell on the higher end teams, so there is a barrier eventually in some senses. So.
Well, yeah, I mean when you play like the top 4 teams in the league in a row, I don't expect you to pop off every single game.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining me on this debut episode of Cabin Convos. It's been fantastic talking to you. Do you have anything you want to say to the fans? Any shout outs, something like that?
I mean, really, just guys, just please keep supporting the players, like on both sides. Like the academy guys, like they're playing the LCS now, like they're going through like their own thing, right, trying to get wins and whatever, and there's a lot more pressure going into LCS compared to academy, right? That's also part of the reason why the LCS guys like can actually play a little bit more loose, get more confidence, right? Because there's not so much pressure on their shoulders. So like giving them all the support and that kind of stuff is like very, very helpful.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again. You can follow Loyota at Loyota LOL. I got the Twitter handle right there on the screen for y'all. Super convenient. You can follow myself at SantoSDB on Twitter, and you can follow the usual Flight Check podcast at Flight Check Crew, also on Twitter. You probably already saw the episode, but we do our show every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Once again, thank you, Loyota, for coming on the show, and I'll see you guys next time for another episode of Cabin Convos. Who knows who we'll have on next? I actually don't know at this time, but we'll see. Thanks again, guys. See you later.